I want to just tell you a little an aside about my daughter and myself. Since that was the second time I've hugged her at what I call an important program, when she graduated from high school, they were going to have me present her with her diploma, and I appropriately did. But when the picture came on the newspaper, the girl I was hugging had really, really long hair, and my daughter had really short hair. And it just so happened that the girl in front of her alphabetically had given me a hug too, and that was the girl whose picture was in the paper. Jenny didn't appear in that. But thank you for that introduction, Jennifer. I think probably sometimes I forgot about a lot of those things. I don't know where you got all that information. Probably from your mother, I suppose. I wanted to get up here and do something really, really short, and I was writing things down, and I said, maybe I'll just ad-lib this, and maybe I'll do it for about 2 minutes. And then there was a little note on the side that said, at this time of the evening, probably the audience will stand up and applaud. So I'll just try and do this in terms of highlights about what happened that brought me here to Saline and what brought me here this evening. I came to Saline, and when I had my interview, probably a lot of you people here know me pretty well, but a lot of you don't. They probably don't know that I'm a Youper. And we Youpers carry a special badge for that we're a little different than a lot of other people in the state of Michigan. But anyway, I went and had my interview, and when I sat down with 3 Youpers. The present superintendent of school, I've been the superintendent at a former high school in the Upper Peninsula. The principal was there, and his wife was a native of Houghton, Michigan. His name was Houghton, and the other man there was a gentleman by the name of Howard Hill, who is still alive and has coffee with me every day, and I find that worthwhile and interesting. We find that being Youpers is kind of a challenge at this time. What I want to tell you is I spoke to a graduating class several years ago, and I was trying to think about what I wanted to tell them about, and I began to think about my job as principal and how it came about and how I was successful, and I started thinking about all the people who helped me. And so my theme of that graduation was, you can't do it alone. And I have to tell you that one of the greatest mentors in the world for me was the one man who was at my interview by the name of Elmer Houghton. And several of you people in this room probably had him for a principal and knew him well and thought so highly of him. And he was the man that directed me in the direction of becoming a school administrator, and so I have fond memories of that man. I think that growing up, you get a chance to think after about 25, 30 years who your other mentors were. And very obviously, I got to think about how strongly my mother and father were mentors for me. My parents both came to the United States as immigrants, and everything, pardon me, that they wanted done had to be done just right, and it had to be hard work. And when I was listening to Cheryl, I was saying, well, Cheryl, I went through the same kinds of things, probably just a little bit harder, because it was something that they believed real strongly that the only way you could be successful in America is if you were well educated. And needless to say, when we brought report cards home, boy, they better be good. Some of my high school teachers were mentors to me too, but probably my high school basketball coach was my most outstanding mentor, and I think that probably my parents would agree with that. They felt very strongly that he was doing such a good job with me that they should turn over some of the kinds of things that they'd like to do or they would do to him. And he just passed away about 3 months ago, and he was 96 years old, and I was one of the 5 basketball players that he had that went up there to his funeral, in the UP, by the way. And I can't help but thinking how important that was, because his boys all wrote me a note about how important it was to hear about the things that I had to say about their father. brother's been a great mentor to me, and I have another mentor who has to look after me, and that's my wife. She had to make sure I had the right tie at the night and everything like this, and this goes on constantly. So I do appreciate the mentoring that my wife did. Going on to this talk, and the man that's going to speak right behind me kind of did this in tandem with me. My principalship was granted in my assistant principalship in 1963. I was made an acting assistant principal. And I had 3 hats. I was assistant principal, I was transportation manager, and athletic director. And I was doing this every day. I was taking one different hat on all the time. And Charlene Jacobson is here somewhere. She was in one of my 4th hour classes because I was teaching as well as doing those other 3 things. And the PA system of course said, Thibault, you got to come to the office when the bus is broken down. And Charlene and Kathy Snyder, was it? Taught my classes for me, so I was pretty lucky with those kinds of things. Anyway, in 1966, I was appointed principal of Saline High School along with Clem Corona, and Clem was assistant, and he's looking away and thinking deeply about this. But that's when I really learned what mentorship was about, because I came under the hands of a gentleman by the name of Harold Hintz, who probably would have, in my mind, been part of this edifice that we're in right now. He was a man with great foresight, great knowledge. He came from the area of Ohio, Canton, Ohio, and he showed us what really education was all about. And he was the kind of man that you want to just sit there and listen. And pretty soon I began to get from him what I ought to be doing in terms of being a good principal. And we began to progress through programs. Saline was a state school where you took 9th grade English and 9th grade math and 10th grade English and 10th grade math. And then we began to bring in bright young teachers and progressive teachers who look forward to changing the curriculum and making it more responsive to the needs of the student body. Saline was growing rapidly at that time, and as a result, we began to send a lot of our kids on to college and to further training, and we had to meet those demands, and we began to do that by bringing in programs with advanced placement, college prep programs, any number of things. And one of the things that Harold Hintz was really good about, and he learned from his experience in Ohio, was that vocational education was a very, very important part of high schools. A lot of people think that vocational schools, vocational programs are where you dump, those kids. You are sitting here this evening having eaten a meal that was done by a very, very good vocational program at Saline High School, our culinary arts program. So I just want to let you know that that's the kind of thing that Harold Hintz brought to Saline High School, and that's the kind of thing that we should be very supportive of. I just want to let you know that I also feel that Saline High School wasn't just doing things at school. We had a very, very supportive community, a friendly community, an outgoing community. I was watching Craig Heft on this program over here, and I was saying Craig Heft is our fire chief, and when I came here they had a little light bulb in a stoplight uptown, and when there was a fire, that light went on, and then it went down, and then they ran a siren. And now we have a very, very energetic fire department. What I'm trying to get at is, we grew with what was going on in America at that time, and I think we not only grew, but we surpassed those kinds of things, and those are the kinds of things that I grew along with as a building principal. These are the support mechanisms that made Saline great. I was part of them. I'm pleased to do that. I'm not, I guess I'm not boastful about them in terms of myself. I knew what my limitations were, and I knew that getting to be associated with people who could do things well, and if under my leadership, or my understanding of whatever things worked, we would have a better school system or a better high school, particularly where I spent all my years. So I just want to say that these are the kinds of things that I remember about Saline. These are the kind of things that make me proud about it. My brother-in-law always kids me about getting emotional on these things, and I guess I do, but I have to stop a second and gain where I am at this thing. I want to read this last part to you. I am deeply moved by being named to this inaugural group of the Saline Foundation Hall of Fame membership. I commend you highly for the community-minded program and wish you continued success for many years to come. Special thanks go to the workers who made this school and this program and this evening a success. When you get a little older, these things are emotional. I hope you enjoyed this program this evening as much as I did. Thank you very much.